Hello, this is Gene here with Entropy & Sons, and this is the third tutorial video for our synth through Recursion Studio, in which we'll actually dive in a little bit to the UI and start messing around. So the synth has been powered on, and it has also been updated. I'm going to start all of these tutorial videos by saying you should definitely update the synth. It's just better in every single way since release. It runs faster, there's more content, a lot of bugs have been fixed, so definitely check out the last video and update the synth if you have not done that yet. Alright, so in our video we can see in the background actually what the synth is creating, and kind of in the lower right corner we actually see the synth. So we're going to discuss what is actually on the UI right here. So on the right we see the major touch UI of the synth. It is a touch panel, and as I noted in another video, it's a resistive touch screen, so you do need to hold down a little bit longer than you might be used to. Alright, so the synth is organized on this page into 4 quadrants and a little action bar at the bottom. The stuff at the bottom tends to change depending on where you are in the UI, but we'll see that in a second. So there are 3 general UIs for the synth. There's play mode, which basically just exposes a bunch of presets and patches, and you can just mess around. There's perform mode, which is designed explicitly for a live performance. And there's create mode, which exposes the details and the intricacies of the synth's module network. Down here, we also see an I/O configurator, which basically lets you configure all of the various inputs of the synth. We'll dive very deeply into that in a future video. Also, there's a link to settings down here, and there is also help. So, one thing to note, long press on any UI element to get specific help. Help is actually fairly involved. It's got links and everything, so basically the majority of the 80-page user manual is available here, so make very good use of that. And this is what we mean by long press. If you just hold down on something, you can get a context-specific help, and that's very useful all over the place. Alright, and that's basically always available for you. One thing, actually, yeah, so this button right here is a shift button. See, sometimes there's a little arrow right here, and if you hold down shift, it's going to show you additional collection of actions down here. Alright, so now for the actual UI here, or for the hardware UI on the left, we have 5 knobs, which by default are hooked up to various numerical parameters in the simulation. We'll go into the details of what these are actually doing in a future video, but for now, just know that they do things, and also that they're buttons. You can hold them down, and you get a little context menu here for quick actions for the parameter they're controlling, but default is just reset. So if you ever go too far in one direction, just tap the button down to get back to something sane. Underneath of this, we get 5 on and off pads that have lights in them. By default, they're hooked up to animations, and it says that it is adding an animation for a specific parameter down at the bottom of the screen. These can be remapped as well, but we'll get into that in a future video. This is a selector, and for instance, you can use that anytime you see a gold border on something in the UI. That means that the gold knob controls it, and then you can push the button down to actually load what's selected underneath of here. Like I mentioned, this is a shift button. It has a couple of different features. It can sometimes change what's being displayed on the LCD panel. I'll give you a little bit more information. It gives you additional actions down at the bottom, and it also will load additional pages of controls. So we see right now that this is doing that. If we held down shift, now it's doing something different. So it loads the next page of controls. Similar for the buttons. This button does that. We hold down shift. Now it's going to do this. Alright, the last actual hardware button here is the navigation button. So this will always give you these actions at the bottom. Quick access to the settings no matter where you are. Quick access to the home page no matter where you are. And there's also a bookmark system, which I'm not going to dive into in too great of a detail here, but the idea is you hold down navigation and tap one of these buttons, and then it'll take you to some place that you've bookmarked in the UI for quick navigation. But yeah, it's explained in the manual, and I will probably explain it in another video as well. All right, so we're gonna go into the play page a little bit here too. So the play page is probably where everybody wants to get started. It's exposing everything that's saved in the synths library that it comes with. So you can take snapshots of the synth at any point in time, and it will create what we call a patch, and these are little thumbnails for the patches. For instance, if you like this right now that it's doing, you can just hit save and press done. There you go. It's now saved this, and you can basically recall it at will. You can then go to info here and get some information, and we're just going to delete it in order to clean up the library a little bit. But you can page left and right here just to get additional pages, and you can just tap on any of these to load them. So this is where I recommend pretty much everybody get started. You just dive in here and you kind of mess around. You can also get access to the library for managing the patches. There is a randomization feature and a screensaver, but we will dive into that in another video. I think that's it for the moment for this video. Stay tuned for the next one where we will actually get audio running into the synth and get audio reactivity. All right, thanks a lot.